Welcome back to the Z Consulting Podcast, everybody. You know us. We're here for you and all things business.
Breaking it down.
Yeah, exactly. And today we're going to do a deep dive into e-commerce.
Oh, this will be fun.
Yeah, it's a big topic, right? I mean, everybody's doing it, but I feel like most people don't actually understand what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
We're going to be pulling from this article called E-commerce, the history and future of online shopping. I think it's really going to help kind of guide our discussion.
Sounds good.
So I think we should probably just start with, like, the basics. What is e-commerce?
Well, at its simplest, it's buying and selling things online. But that's kind of a very basic definition, right?
Yeah.
It's really about using any digital platform to conduct those transactions. It could be mobile apps, social media, even online advertising that leads straight to a purchase.
So it's more than just having a website.
Way more. It's about leveraging the entire digital landscape to reach customers and facilitate those transactions.
Yeah. And this article has a really interesting statistic. It says that e-commerce is projected to make up almost 25% of global retail sales by 2027.
Wow.
That's like 1/4 of all retail.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Absolutely.
It's not just a trend. It's like the future of shopping.
Absolutely. And it's already happening. I mean, think about how many people are buying things online right now.
I know. I mean, I do it all the time.
Yeah, me too. And the pandemic really accelerated that shift, right?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we're talking about a massive, massive market. But it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing, right?
Right.
This article talks about 7 different business models within e-commerce.
Yeah, there's a lot of variety in how businesses operate online.
But let's break it down. Like, I think everyone's familiar with the classic, like, buying something from Amazon, right?
Right.
What do they call that? Business to consumer.
Yeah, that's B2C, business to consumer. It's the most common model, probably the one that most people think of when they hear e-commerce.
Okay.
But it's certainly not the only one.
No. Okay, so what are some of the other ones?
Well, there's B2B, business to business. This is where businesses are selling to each other. Think software companies, manufacturers, wholesalers.
Okay, so like office supplies or like raw materials.
Exactly.
Got it.
It's often a much higher volume than B2C.
Okay, so those are the big 2.
What else? Then you've got C2C, consumer to consumer. This is where individuals are selling to each other.
Like eBay.
Yeah, eBay's a great example. Also, Etsy, where you can buy handmade goods.
Yeah, I love Etsy.
Yeah. And there are even models where individuals interact with businesses or governments. So you have C2B, consumer to business. Think freelance platforms where individuals offer their services to businesses.
Oh, that's interesting. Like Upwork or Fiverr.
Exactly. And then there's B2G, business to government, where businesses sell products or services to government agencies. Think of things like software for government offices or security systems for government buildings.
Okay. And then I guess there's C2G, which is consumer to government.
Yeah, that's right. This is where individuals are selling to the government. It might be less common, but it does exist. Think of things like an individual selling handmade crafts to a government-run gift shop.
Oh, interesting.
It's a pretty diverse landscape.
Yeah, it really is. But it seems like, I don't know, maybe like a little overwhelming. Like, how do you even figure out where you fit in if you're, a business owner?
That's a great question. And a lot of it depends on, well, the scale of your business.
Okay.
Are you a small startup, a mid-market company, or a large enterprise?
Okay.
That really dictates what kind of resources you'll need, the technology you'll use, even your overall approach to e-commerce.
This article actually breaks down businesses into those categories: enterprise, mid-market, small business, and startups.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it.
Can you give us some examples of like real-world businesses in each of those categories, just to kind of paint a picture of what it actually looks like?
Sure. So for enterprise, think of like huge global brands. This article mentions Badgley Mischka, a fashion label.
Oh, yeah, I know them.
They have a massive online presence. They're dealing with huge volumes of traffic, global shipping, complex inventory management. They need really sophisticated systems to handle all of that.
Yeah.
Their e-commerce operation is basically a business within itself.
It's a whole other beast.
It is.
Yeah.
Then you have mid-market companies. This article talks about Chair King Backyard Store. They're like a successful regional furniture retailer.
Okay.
They're not as big as Badgley Mischka, but they still need a robust platform to manage their online store. But they also have very specific needs, like handling local deliveries and managing their unique inventory.
Okay.
So their approach to e-commerce is going to be different from a global fashion brand.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you have small businesses. The article mentions Moore Brothers Wine Company as an example.
Okay.
They're using e-commerce to streamline their operations, manage inventory, and connect with customers in a more personalized way. They might not need the same level of complexity as a mid-market or enterprise company.
Right.
They're looking for a platform that's user-friendly, affordable, and can help them grow their business.
Okay. And what about startups?
Startups are often the disruptors in the e-commerce space. This article talks about Molly Mutt, a company that makes dog beds. They needed a platform that was easy to set up, customizable, and could scale as they grew. They're probably starting with a very basic online store, but they need it to be flexible enough to accommodate their future growth.
Yeah. I guess you have to kind of think ahead when you're starting out.
You do. You want a platform that can grow with you and adapt to your changing needs.
Okay, so we've talked about the different business models and the different sizes of e-commerce businesses, but I think it's also important to acknowledge that this whole online shopping thing is growing at an incredible pace.
Yeah, it's not slowing down anytime soon.
The article talks about the fact that there are over 5 billion internet users worldwide. That's a massive potential customer base.
It's a global marketplace.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get bigger.
Yeah. And people are just more comfortable shopping online now. I mean, think about it. We buy everything online.
Right.
From groceries to clothes to cars.
I know. It's become so convenient. You can shop from anywhere at any time, and there's so much variety. You can find anything you want online.
And let's be honest, online marketplaces like Amazon have totally changed the game.
They have. They've made it incredibly easy for consumers to find what they're looking for and compare prices.
Yeah. And I think they've also raised customer expectations, right?
Absolutely. People expect fast shipping, free returns, and personalized recommendations.
So it's not enough to just have a website anymore. You really have to create a seamless and engaging experience for your customers.
Exactly. And that involves understanding the technology that powers e-commerce.
Yeah, the article really emphasizes that you need to be tech savvy to succeed in this space.
It's not just about having a pretty website. It's about the systems that run behind the scenes, the platforms, the payment gateways, the shipping logistics.
Okay, so let's break it down. What are the essential technologies that anyone involved in e-commerce needs to understand?
Well, I think we should start with the e-commerce platform itself.
Okay.
That's the foundation of your online store. Think of it like the operating system for your business. It's what powers everything from product listings and shopping carts to order processing and customer management.
So it's basically the backbone of your online operation.
Yeah.
Makes sense. What else?
Then you've got payment gateways, which are essential for securely processing transactions.
Yeah.
There are so many different payment options these days. Credit cards, debit cards, digital wallets, even cryptocurrencies in some cases.
Yeah.
You need a gateway that can handle all of that securely and efficiently.
Okay. So you got the platform, you got the payment processing. What happens after someone places an order?
That's where shipping and fulfillment comes in.
Yeah.
And this can be a really complex part of e-commerce, especially if you're dealing with physical goods.
Yeah.
You need to manage inventory, pack orders, choose shipping carriers, track shipments, and handle returns. It's a lot to juggle.
Yeah, for sure.
And then there's data and analytics. You need to understand how your business is performing, what's working, what's not.
Okay, so you're talking about things like website traffic, conversion rates, customer behavior.
Exactly. You need to track those metrics and use that data to make informed decisions about your business.
So you're not just flying blind.
No.
You're actually using data to guide your strategy.
Absolutely. And then, depending on your business, you might also need specialized technologies like point-of-sale systems, enterprise resource planning software, product information management tools, and inventory management systems.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
It can be, but it's all about finding the right tools to help you manage your business effectively.
Makes sense. So it seems like technology is really the key to success in e-commerce.
Absolutely. You need to understand the tools available to you and how to use them effectively. But it's not just about the technology itself. It's about using it strategically to enhance your business and create a great customer experience.
Okay, so it's like a combination of tech savvy and business savvy.
Exactly. You need both to thrive in this space.
Well, I'm feeling a little bit more tech savvy already.
Good.
But I think we've only just scratched the surface of this topic.
Yeah. There's so much more to dive into.
We haven't even talked about the benefits and challenges of e-commerce
Yeah,
or the history and future of this whole online shopping phenomenon.
that's for next time.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I think one of the most appealing things about e-commerce is, the potential for global reach.
Yeah. The article talks about that. Like, you could literally reach customers all over the world. I mean, that's pretty incredible when you think about it.
It really is, especially for smaller businesses. Imagine like a small, mom and pop shop in a rural town suddenly being able to sell their products to people in like Europe or Asia.
Yeah, that would have been impossible like 20 years ago. Yeah.
Exactly. E-commerce has really leveled the playing field in that sense.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And it's not just about reaching more customers, it's about reaching the right customers.
Right.
The article talks about the ability to, like, target your marketing really specifically to people who are actually interested in what you're selling.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest advantages of e-commerce. You can use data to understand your target audience and tailor your marketing messages to their specific interests and needs.
Okay, so walk me through that. Like, how does that actually work? I mean, I know they collect data, but what kind of data are we talking about?
Well, everything from your browsing history to your purchase behavior to your social media activity, they even track things like what you click on, how long you spend on a page, what you add to your cart.
Hmm.
It's a lot of information.
Yeah, it kind of sounds a little creepy, to be honest. Like, Big Brother is watching you.
I get that. There are definitely privacy concerns. But businesses use this data to create those personalized recommendations you see on websites.
Okay, so it's like instead of seeing a bunch of random ads, I'm seeing ads for things that I'm actually interested in.
Exactly. It's about creating a more relevant and engaging experience for the customer.
Okay, so we've got global reach, targeted marketing.
Yeah.
This article also talks about lower startup costs as a major benefit of e-commerce.
Yeah, that's a big one, especially for, smaller businesses and startups. You don't have to rent a physical storefront. You don't have to hire a ton of employees. You can launch an online store with a relatively small investment.
That's pretty appealing. I mean, starting a business is expensive, right? So
Okay.
anything that can help you save money is a good thing.
Absolutely. And it also allows businesses to be more agile and adaptable. You can test new products and markets more easily. You can adjust your strategy more quickly. It's a much more flexible model than traditional brick and mortar retail.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so we've talked about all the great things about e-commerce, but the article also acknowledges that there are challenges. Like, I was reading about these integration issues and I was like, oh, this sounds complicated.
Yeah, integrating e-commerce into your existing systems can be tricky, especially if you have like legacy systems, older software that doesn't play nicely with newer technologies.
Yeah. Like, what kinds of systems are we talking about?
Well, things like inventory management, accounting software, customer relationship management.
Okay.
You need to make sure all of these systems can talk to each other, that they can share data seamlessly.
Otherwise, what happens if they're not integrated properly?
You can end up with a lot of manual processes, which can be time-consuming and error-prone.
Okay.
You might have inventory discrepancies where what you have in stock doesn't match what's showing on your website.
Oh.
Or you might have customer data that's scattered across multiple systems, which can make it difficult to personalize the experience or provide effective customer service.
So it's like you need a tech person to come in and make sure everything's working properly.
It can be helpful, yeah. Or you need to choose platforms and software that are designed to integrate with each other.
Yeah. Okay, another challenge that the article mentioned is customer service. It seems like it's harder to provide good customer service online than it is in person.
Yeah, it definitely presents its own set of challenges. You don't have that face-to-face interaction, so it's harder to build rapport and resolve issues quickly.
So how do you compensate for that? Like, how do you provide good customer service in an online environment?
It's about being proactive and responsive.
Mhm.
Things like having a comprehensive FAQ section on your website, offering live chat support, responding to emails promptly, and making sure you have a clear and easy to understand return policy.
Okay.
It's about making the customer feel heard and valued, even if they're not physically in your store.
Makes sense. And speaking of challenges, this article doesn't sugarcoat the fact that the e-commerce market is incredibly competitive.
It's a crowded space. There are millions of businesses selling products online, so you really have to stand out from the crowd.
So how do you do that? Like, what are some strategies for, being successful in such a competitive environment?
Well, it starts with having a strong brand identity. What makes you unique? What are your values? What's your story? You need to communicate that clearly to your customers.
Okay,
And you need to offer a great product or service, obviously.
of course.
But it's also about creating a seamless and enjoyable shopping experience.
Well,
Everything from your website design to your shipping options to your customer service needs to be top-notch.
okay.
And then you need to market yourself effectively. You need to get the word out about your business and attract customers to your website.
Yeah.
There are a lot of different marketing channels available, so it's about finding the right mix for your business.
This article also goes into some detail about the challenges of shipping and fulfillment.
Yeah, that's a big one, especially if you're selling physical goods.
Yeah.
It's a complex process that involves like managing inventory, packing orders, choosing shipping carriers, tracking shipments, and you need to make sure it's all done efficiently and cost effectively.
It sounds like a logistical nightmare.
It can be. A lot of businesses choose to outsource their fulfillment to third-party logistics providers.
Okay, so they're basically handling all the shipping and handling for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. But then you're giving up some control, right?
Yeah, there's always a trade-off. But for many businesses, the convenience and cost savings of outsourcing outweigh the loss of control.
Makes sense. Okay, this article also talks about the importance of data security. Like, that seems pretty crucial, right? I mean, you're dealing with people's personal and financial information.
It's absolutely essential. Any e-commerce business needs to have robust security measures in place to protect their customers' data.
Okay, so like, what kinds of measures are we talking about?
Well, things like secure socket layer encryption, the SSL certificate that you see on websites,
Yeah.
fraud detection tools that can identify suspicious activity, and compliance with industry standards like PCI DSS, which is specifically designed for handling payment card information.
Right.
And it's not just about the technology. You also need to have strong internal policies and procedures for handling sensitive data.
Yeah, like training your employees on data security best practices.
Exactly. You need to create a culture of security within your organization.
Okay, so it's a combination of technology and human vigilance.
Yeah, pretty much. And if you're selling internationally, you also need to be aware of the different regulations and legal requirements in each country you're targeting.
Oh, yeah, that sounds complicated. Like different data privacy laws, different consumer protection laws.
Exactly. It can be a minefield.
So you might need to consult with a lawyer who specializes in international trade.
Yeah, or a consultant who can help you navigate those complexities.
Okay, so we've talked about the benefits, the challenges, the tech. I think it's time to step back and look at the bigger picture, like the history of e-commerce.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how this whole thing evolved.
The article says it goes all the way back to 1969.
Yeah, with CompuServe, one of the first commercial online services.
Wow, that's like ancient history in the digital world.
It is, but even back then, people were using CompuServe to buy things online. It was very basic, like ordering from a catalog, but it was the beginning of e-commerce as we know it.
And then things really started to take off in the mid-90s, right?
Yeah, with the advent of the World Wide Web and the launch of companies like Amazon and eBay.
Those were game changers.
Absolutely. They made online shopping accessible and convenient for the masses. And then the rise of broadband internet in the late 90s and early 2000s made it even faster and easier to shop online.
Yeah, and then smartphones came along and everything changed again.
Yeah, mobile commerce or mum commerce has become huge. People are shopping on their phones more than ever before.
It's all about convenience. You can literally shop from anywhere at any time.
Exactly. And social media has also played a big role in the growth of e-commerce.
Yeah, I'm seeing more and more businesses selling products directly through their social media channels.
It's a natural extension of social media. People are already spending so much time on these platforms, so why not make it easy for them to buy things while they're there?
Makes sense. So it's like the lines between social media and e-commerce are becoming increasingly blurred.
Absolutely. And that trend is only going to continue.
So it seems like the history of e-commerce is really a story of constant innovation and adaptation.
Yeah, it's about businesses finding new ways to connect with customers and make the shopping experience more convenient, enjoyable, and personalized.
And I think that's a good segue into talking about the future e-commerce. Like, where do you see this whole thing going?
Well, one thing's for sure, the pace of change is only going to accelerate. We're on the cusp of some pretty amazing technological advancements that are going to have a huge impact on e-commerce. We were just talking about all these trends, right? Like mobile commerce, social commerce. It's amazing how fast things are changing.
Yeah. I know. It's like every time I turn around, there's some new technology or some new platform. It's hard to keep up.
It is, but it's also what makes it so exciting to be in this space. There's always something new to learn.
Yeah, that's true. So you were about to say something about AI. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on this.
Well, I think artificial intelligence is going to have a huge impact on the future of e-commerce. I mean, it's already starting to, but we're just scratching the surface.
Okay, yeah, the article touches on AI, but I'd love to hear your take on it.
I think AI is going to personalize the shopping experience in ways we can't even imagine right now. Think about it. AI can analyze vast amounts of data, way more than a human ever could.
Okay, but what kind of data? Like, what does AI need to know about me to, like, recommend a product?
Well, everything from your browsing history to your purchase behavior to your social media activity, even your location and the time of day, AI can use all of that data to create a profile of you, understand your preferences, and predict what you're likely to buy.
Hmm, that sounds a little bit creepy to me. Like, how much does AI really need to know about my life?
I understand that concern, and data privacy is definitely something we need to be mindful of as AI becomes more prevalent. But think about the potential benefits, too.
Okay, like what?
Imagine receiving product recommendations that are so spot on, it's like the website is reading your mind. Or imagine having a virtual shopping assistant that can help you find exactly what you're looking for, even if you don't know what you're looking for. AI can make the whole shopping experience more efficient, personalized, and enjoyable.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. And what about the businesses? How can AI help them?
AI can streamline and automate so many aspects of e-commerce, from inventory management to pricing to customer service. Think about it. AI can track sales data, analyze market trends, and predict demand with incredible accuracy. That means businesses can optimize their inventory levels, avoid stockouts, and offer more competitive pricing.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. So AI could be a game changer for businesses too.
Absolutely. And it can also help with fraud prevention, which is a big issue in e-commerce. AI can analyze patterns and identify suspicious activity, flagging potentially fraudulent transactions before they happen.
So it's like having a super smart security guard watching over your business 24/7.
Pretty much. And then there's the potential of augmented reality, or AR, and virtual reality, or VR. The article talks about how those could transform e-commerce as well.
Yeah, those sound pretty futuristic to me. Like, I'm not sure I'm ready to shop in a virtual reality world just yet.
I know, it sounds a bit sci-fi. But think about being able to virtually try on clothes before you buy them online, see how they look on your body from different angles.
Oh, okay, now that would be useful. Can't tell you how many times I've ordered something online and then had to return it because it didn't fit right.
Exactly. AR could solve that problem.
All
And it
right.
could also create more immersive shopping experiences. Like imagine being able to virtually walk through a store and browse products as if you were actually there.
Hmm. I know, I kind of like the experience of going to a store. You know, browsing the aisles, touching the products, talking to salespeople.
I get that. But not everyone has the time or the ability to go shopping in person. VR could make online shopping more accessible and engaging for people who, maybe live in rural areas or have mobility issues.
Yeah, I see your point. Okay, so AI, AR, VR, those are all pretty big trends. What else do you see happening in the future of e-commerce?
Well, I think sustainability is going to become even more important. Consumers are increasingly concerned about the environmental impact of their purchases, and they're going to be looking for businesses that are taking steps to be more sustainable.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like eco-friendly packaging, carbon neutral shipping, ethical sourcing.
Hmm.
Those are all things I'm starting to pay more attention to.
Absolutely. And businesses are going to have to adapt if they want to stay competitive.
Okay, so sustainability is one trend. What else?
Data privacy is another big one. As businesses collect more data about their customers, they're going to have to be more transparent about how they're using that data and take steps to protect it from unauthorized access.
Yeah, that's a huge issue. I mean, data breaches are becoming all too common these days.
They are, and they can really damage a business's reputation. So building trust with customers is going to be more important than ever.
Yeah, trust is everything.
Yeah.
If I don't trust a business to protect my data, I'm not going to shop with them.
Exactly. So e-commerce businesses are going to have to be very mindful of data privacy if they want to succeed in the long run.
Well, I think this has been a really insightful deep dive into the world of e-commerce.
I agree. It's a fascinating and rapidly evolving space.
We've covered a lot of ground today, but hopefully our listeners have a better understanding of what e-commerce is, how it works, and where it's headed.
Yeah, it's a complex landscape, but it's also full of opportunity.
And speaking of opportunity, I want to remind our listeners about Nidus Lab. They specialize in developing AI agents, web apps, software, chatbots, design, and content. If you're looking for a technology partner to help you navigate the complexities of e-commerce and take your business to the next level, I highly recommend checking them out. You can visit their website at www.nidaslab.com.
They're a great resource for any business looking to leverage technology to their advantage.
That's right. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into e-commerce. We release new episodes every Wednesday and Sunday at 7 p.m. Thank you for tuning in to the Z Consulting Podcast, where we discuss the ins and outs of business. Looking forward to having you join us again.